Cool. Hello, everyone. Hope you can all hear me right in the back. People online, my online friends, can you all hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up? I can't see it though, but hope you can hear me. It's exciting to be back. I've been going to meetups in Sydney for a while, and after COVID, it kind of slowed down. But I'm super excited to be back here. It's a big community here. I enjoy going to meetups, talking to a lot of people, meeting a lot of people, and I use the opportunity to try and pick up a topic I was learning recently, and I thought I was going to come here, talk to you all about sharing ideas. That's what it is, eh? Let's start with, my name is Dinesh Pandiyan. If you notice the picture there, that's me a long time ago. I need to update it. Before I had longer hair. I think that was, yeah, I didn't have facial hair back then. That was intentionally though. So I probably need to update it. But you know, whenever you update your social media pictures, people start thinking it's spam account. Once you establish a picture persona, you can't change it. I work with a consultancy called ThinkMill. We're out of Sydney. We work on modern front-end tools. We work on design systems, GraphQL, Next.js, front-end platform in general. My expertise mostly lies in what I like to call as the middle stack. Yeah? Not a lot on the API side or database side, at the same time, not a lot in the browser side. In the middle stack where I try to make sure web servers work right, make sure our app is performant. I focus on performance, I focus on architecture and code. And that is why this whole talk today I want to give. It's completely new to me. It's outside my expertise and comfort zone. So I've been hearing about this a lot in the last year, and I avidly follow Chrome web teams when they're releasing new features. So they're talking a lot about this fancy new feature called Native View Transitions API. So everything we're going to look at today, the forward is, it is experimental. If you think about taking it away and using it at work tomorrow, it's not going to work. Even if you try and build a code today and 4 months from now, it might not work because it's completely in experimental mode. If you open the API page, you will have this big banner saying, since it's experimental, it only works in Chrome. 50% of what we're going to see today is going to work in Chrome, and the rest 50%, it won't even work in Chrome. You have to go and turn on a flag. So we are at the most edge of the bleeding edge. If we're going to look at things that might probably... Am I too loud? There we go. The red light went away. Oh, it came back. All good? Okay. Let's hope all's good. Yeah. So what we're going to look at there, what we're going to explore, might not even be practically applicable at least for 2 years from now. But it's always cool to get ahead and explore these things. The topic here is view transitions. Can I see a show of hands for folks familiar with and working with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? That's almost the entire crowd. That's what I like to see. We're going to dive into how browsers work. But before that, I wanted to make very clear, because that was my impression as well. When you hear the word transition, your brain immediately goes to, oh, it's animation. I've done it before. But this is different from CSS animation, CSS transitions. What we're looking at is native view transitions at browser level. An example way to clear out the differences, if you run transition before, transitions can only happen in, let's see if we can pull up an example. There we go. So what we're looking at here is CSS transition. So see this element. In screen share, the frames are slightly dropping, but this element, you can only apply and use CSS transitions on elements that already exist in your DOM tree. You cannot apply a transition on elements that don't exist, or that will come back in later. I'm pretty sure at least 50% of the crowd here will have gone through this painful process. Have you built a model before? There we go. Have you been in a position where you wanted to add an entry animation? Zoom, show me the model when it opens. Yeah, that's easy to do. because you first put it in the screen, but you don't show it to the user yet. You use opacity, display, lots of ways to hide it. And then you zoom it out. That's easy because it's now in the DOM, and the animation you're showing is after it comes to the DOM. Have you also had to work on exit animations for model? Yeah? Because the thumb rule is you cannot apply CSS transition animation to elements that do not exist in the DOM. That means if you want to exit a model, if someone closes, you cannot remove the model from the tree and apply animation to it. That if you work with React world, you know how painful that is. So the general technique is you use a timer. Within the timer, you first make the model disappear, and then you remove it from the DOM. Because that has been the only way for us to animate elements that don't ever exist in the DOM tree anymore. And now going back to the presentation. Here, my friends, I'm going to show you that is why view transitions is, I'm super excited about view transitions. I've been following for a year. View transitions is a brand new web API, experimental API being driven by Chrome's web team as a spec for the web. Now, it puts us in a position where we can apply animations and transitions to DOM nodes that don't exist in the DOM anymore. So you don't have to go through the little hacks or workarounds where you have to hide something first, show something first, at the same time make two elements be in the DOM at the same time, and then apply transition between them. Because more often you do that, there are some accessibility constraints around that, which is right or wrong, but that's the only way to get things done. But with view transition, those things are not there anymore. Now, it is available within a browser to use the browser's view transition API to apply transitions to elements that either are not there anymore or are going to come in later. That's the forward. So if you think view transitions is just CSS transitions, yeah, it's not there. Cool. One other thing we're going to explore here is the concept of SPAs, MPA, single page apps versus multi-page apps. Can I see a show of hands if you've heard about this concept before? Oh, cool, which makes it easy, so I don't have to go through a lot. A lot of examples, that's what I meant. So we're looking at web dev. So this is Google Chrome team's maintenance website here. When we are moving between pages here, so I'm loading next page. What's really happening is, do you see the URL change here? So this is a whole new web document, because what you're seeing here is entire doc type HTML. This is a web document. And if you go to network tab, when I move around, and I see, so you see new document is being loaded, whole HTML comes in. I go around, another new document is loaded, whole HTML comes in. So this idea of multi-page apps is every single page is a whole separate web document. So navigation is between different web documents and not within a single website. Now, going back to single page apps, if you use React or Next.js before, or any meta framework, SvelteKit, not Astro though, SvelteKit, Nuxt, they have this concept of single page navigations. What that means is whenever you go here, there is another page, but you see there is no document loading here. The reason is what they do is your entire document doesn't reload. Only the part that changes, it needs to be reloaded. See the section you're seeing here, only this section, the middle section reloads, not the entire page. So these are single page apps, and the navigation between multi-page and single pages, instead of reloading the entire app, you're going to reload only the small portion of the app. It's essentially like writing a JavaScript update to your document query selector, like how we used to with jQuery. So your page doesn't reload. Sweet. Now that we can get into what view transitions are. These 10 lines of code you're seeing here, that is all view transitions. You add this and you're done. You'll be able to transition between all the elements in your code. This is more like for script that you need to add to enable view transitions in your doc. And if you can see it, the line, the first if statement, that's more like a fallback condition, because since this is an experimental, it's not enabled in all browsers. So we're going to skip this view transition browser that don't support it. Example, Firefox, Safari, all the browsers. And last line where document.start view transition takes a callback. It's a method that returns a promise. Everything that happens within there, your browser captures a snapshot of a before and after state, and it applies a transition to it. See? And now you have two new elements in your browser that you can use to style the before and after snapshot. So there is no, you don't have to keep things element, even if they go away from your DOM. If you remove it, you can access them via the CSS style called view transition old. When something comes in, that becomes view transition new. So within these two selectors, you can access which element went away, which element came in, and you can apply any CSS transition animation to that. That's all. 2 lines of JavaScript and 2 lines of CSS. I'm underselling that, but that's how you get started. I'm going to show 5 different demos here. I'm just going to walk through them all here, because today morning I showed my friend what this talk is about. Before I finished showing the first one, hey, doesn't it do that? Oh, that's what the second one is, custom animation. And then when I showed custom animation, oh, wait, I don't want the entire page to be animated. Now, so we have scope transition, so we can scope which part get animated. And then this is an experimental version of this experimental tech. This won't even work in Chrome. You have to enable a flag, and it will only work when the flag is enabled. So we're going to see how the CSS transmission works across multi-pages, different documents, not just a single page. And the last one is, this is my favorite topic. I've been exploring PWAs a lot in recent years. It's so good, I'm telling you. So my brain immediately went to, if you apply view transition PWAs, you can build a website, a response website, then users won't even be able to recognize if it is a native web app or a website. That's the most exciting, but that's why I wanted to give this talk today. I want, probably in 2 or 3 years from now, we'll get there. But I want to start exploring it from today. Cool, who's ready for some demo? Okay, hope you all, is it clear enough? Yep, cool. So what I have here is, I built a simple example. Forget about this next folder. I wanted to build the next example with Next and React, but I couldn't get there. But vanilla, this is where the magic is. So we got, every single example is a plain old HTML, JS, CSS. It's been so long since I wrote code with just HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It felt so good, I'm telling you. So each example is just, there's nothing there. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, that's what we're going to go through. I got we're serving the static server, so we can open any file we want. Cool. So we got 5 examples. I'm going to go through and show you what it means. First one is, you remember I showed you 2 lines of JavaScript and 2 lines of CSS. When you add that, the transitions immediately start working. What you're looking at here is, I'll go through the page structure. It's easier to go through. So page doesn't have complex thing. It has the main section, and it has the title. It has section to hold the buttons, and it has section to hold the image. That's all. The page doesn't have anything else. And within the page, I have the script saying, on this transition is what the line I showed you. Yeah. So do the start view transition, and within the view transition, do whatever update you want to do to the page. That means here the update. This is the update I'm doing to the page. So when you click the first button, and the update I'm doing is just updating the image, nothing else. The second button is updating the image, and everything means the 2 other elements in the DOM. That is just the title, not everything really. So here. Cool. It's not clearly shown over screen share or Zoom, but I can promise you in my Mac the transition is good. The frames are getting dropped via screen share, but you get the idea. So what's happening here is, when I'm clicking this image button, what I'm doing here is we are removing the image, adding a new image. So traditionally, how we would apply this animation is, we want to keep hold of something and make it fade away, and then bring the new one in and make it fade in. There's too many loopholes in there, performance problems, and all those things. But with View Transition API, I didn't have to do any of that. There is 0 CSS code here. All I did was just make the changes within this callback. And the reason is, View Transitions defaults to crossfade. So what you're seeing here is the default animation the browser gives you, crossfade. So I'm telling the browser, whatever change is happening on this button click, apply transition to the browser is capturing the snapshot of this view, new view, and applying a transition behind that. No code. It all just works. And look what happens now. So image and title. I think I might also change the background code. There we go. So you all notice a slight transition there. So here I'm changing a few things, but I'm not targeting and telling the browser how exactly to make the transition. So the browser is capable of understanding what was the previous state before. This is the current state of the app. Title is rock, you have image, and you have 2 buttons. Now this is the newer state. And the browser has a snapshot of the older state and newer state and merges it with using animation. So this is the default behavior. Default behavior shows you how to work, but it's not really cool, eh? I'll show you something cool. Now, you can apply custom animations to elements that are not in the DOM. Look at this. So now we are updating the image. But do you notice the whole page is updating? The reason is, go back. So I'm telling you, I can write a lot of JavaScript, but if I have to write animation, I need to Google for half an hour. I think it took me 15, 20 minutes to just put this animation right. And it took me, that's how long it took to put the presentation together. So what we're doing here is, this is the magic sauce. So this is the selector the browser gives you. View transition old, view transition new. So I'm applying when it's old, I'm asking it to slide to left. Asking the browser to slide the snapshot to the left. Root element is DOM element. So if you're not familiar, your doc type, your entire HTML, above that is called document root. So when you're using the root selector, what you're essentially saying is, whenever there's a snapshot captured using view transition, apply this transition to it. So everything goes left and everything goes right, even though image is the only thing that we are changing. Look at everything. This is pretty cool. And we didn't have to go through any of the workarounds or hacks to get this working. Oh, we're not done yet. Hold on. Now, same thing. Well, it was not okay to move the title as well, yeah? So we can target between snapshots. We can tell the browser to target which element we want to transition. Now I'm telling the browser to use my slide animation only for the image element. So which is not really the whole section that holds the image. So if you notice, the title is using the default animation of crossfade, and our custom animation is only applied to image. And the way we do it is, there's no fancy JavaScript at all. It's all plain old CSS. So you go here, you have this new element selector called view transition name. So here, if you notice, my title has a title, and this image has a ID called transition me. So I'm selecting them both. So title gets a transition name called title, and this element gets a transition name called image. So I'm applying my animations only for the image element, not for anything else. So title takes the default, and image alone applies the transition. Oh, you can go away. There we go. Cool. Now, we're not done yet. We got one more. Okay. This is my favorite part, and this is what I meant. It's still an experiment in an experiment. So what we saw until now, we were doing SPA transitions. Changes was happening within a single document. But only meta frameworks do that, or you have to write a lot of code to make sure your app is SPA. For example, if I open my blog, oh, this is a self-plug, but I like it. So I'm refreshing the page. This is not using any framework. I built it with Astro, but it's just plain old HTML. Every page is its own page. Yeah. So it is a different document, and everything here is prefetched. The reason why it's looking instant is because we are prefetching everything. But it's still multi-page app. It's not a single-page app. The reality is you need to be able to apply these transitions across different pages, not on a single page. And the Chrome team is working. This is super experimental. If the code I'm showing you today, I'm pretty sure it won't work in 2 months from now, because they're iterating on this version. They're getting feedback. But it's cool to get ahead of it and know how these things work. So I'm here, document transition. I'll show you the code. Index has a link to another page. Another page has link to index. That's all. 2 different pages, 2 different HTML. Go to another page. Boom. Did you notice any transition there? No. The reason is because I haven't explored the flag yet. So you have this flag called view transition on navigation. So you need to enable this flag to even see if this works right. Go here. I turned it on. You might see here. So it's enabled. Now I'm going to localhost 3000, document transition. Look at that. So now, even between different documents, it's not the same document. It's a whole different page. The new document doesn't even know what your old document is. But View Transition API tells your browsers to take an old snapshot and use it for the new snapshot. If you worked with sending analytics beacon events, if you want to register if someone clicks a link, it goes to a new page, chances are you might have trouble there. That's why the recent APIs like send beacon, all those things. Now, there are some things in the browser that happens outside the scope of your document intentionally. Even if you navigate to a next page, your browser has capability to remember and do things. So it works exactly like that. So for you to be able to apply this view transition in between different pages, you need to add this meta tag. There's no JavaScript. So you tell your browser, I need view transition between my pages, and I say the same origin content. So what we're saying is this is localhost 3000, and the new page is also localhost 3000. Browser creates a snapshot between two pages and applies this transition. Now something else. So if you look at the CSS, the same CSS we are targeting the content and applying the slide left, slide right. So that's what you're seeing here. Cool. Now, this is my favorite part, last part of the demo. We're heading to the end. PWA. Can I see a show of hands if how many of you have heard about the concept of PWA, Progressive Web Apps? There we go. That's a big number. Love it. The idea of Progressive Web Apps is you can build a website with being it responsive, work well in mobile resolutions, and idea of Progressive Web, you can make an app installable, use the capabilities of your mobile device, and make it updatable. So to do that is a whole different concept. You need a manifest, but I built a simple PWA example here. Now, you remember I showed you my blog where, not here. I showed that a bit earlier. I should have showed it here. Cool. Do you notice any page load at all? Does it even look like a different page? The reason is we are not loading the page when I'm clicking it. We are prefetching it. So when the page is here, everything is that's visible on the screen. The next page for this link is already prefetched. So when you use prefetch, you can fetch things ahead of what the users might go to. Even though this is a multi-page next page, it loads instantly. There's no loading because it's already prefetched in the previous screen. Now, adding PWA plus prefetch plus what we saw with view transition now. Something magical is going to happen now. Cool. So when your app is a PWA, Progressive Web App, it's a big concept, but in short, all you need to do is you need to have a manifest and follow the spec and tell the browser how to install the app in your device. So imagine this. I'm not sure how to show this in Android device, but if you had an Android device, what would happen is this install will show up as install your website as an app in your phone. So you can search for the app. It's not a website. It becomes an app. Now, so do you see this? This is an app. So yeah, I'm on Zoom's annotate mode. It's not showing here. I'm trying to get it go away. Oh, there we go. It's gone. Cool. Now, look at that cool pic. So now the app name is demo. It's searchable in my lookup. So this opens as an app. It's not a browser. Now, imagine this. So you're seeing it here, but imagine this in your mobile device that you open as an app. And when these navigations happen, you can't say if it's a native app or if it's a web page loading. You can build pretty incredible, engaging user experience where the user can swipe and make it look like a native app, but the reality is all you need is just use a website. There we go. So that's pretty much all we have today for view transition. Thanks, everyone. This is a really interesting comment I saw following up the Chrome's video in YouTube. They said, this is very true. I use Safari all the time, but I sometimes wish progress would move faster. But I think it's for the right reasons. But anyway, for those who are watching online, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Thank you.
Are you willing to take questions?
Yeah.